Good evening, everyone. We are ready to call our 6 o'clock FY 2027 Budget and Millage Rate Hearing number 1. We have our second one tomorrow at 6 p.m. and our third one on the 12th at 6 p.m. So this is Millage Rate Hearing number 1 and Budget Hearing number 1 of, I don't know, 1 of 3 for the Millage Rate Hearing and 1 of 2 for the budget presentation. All right, so we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Superintendent Scott, would you like to do roll call?
Heidi Hensley, Mary P. Bagby, Linda Davis.
Here.
Dr. Patricia Yeager.
Here.
Tim Denson.
Here.
Dr. Lakeisha Gant. Nicole Hull. Dr. Mumby Anderson.
Here.
Mark Evans.
Here.
All right, looks like we have a quorum and we can proceed with the agenda adoption. So let's move to item 3 to adopt the agenda.
Move that the agenda as presented be adopted.
Second.
All right, that motion is made by Ms. Davis and seconded by Mr. Denson. All in favor of approving the adoption of the agenda, please raise your hand and say aye.
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 All right, that motion passes. Now we are at item 4 for the FY 2027 Budget and Millage Rate Hearing. Mr. Greiner.
There we go. Thank you, Dr. Anderson. All right, so we're going to do the budget hearing first, and then we'll just kind of move into the millage rate hearing, and then I think public comment after that. So, Lisa, is this? There we go. All right, I'm just going to hit a couple highlights with the budget presentation. So just kind of wanted to go through our FY 27 initiatives. Again, the step increase, if applicable, for all employees, continuation of the 403B match for our employees that are in the PCERS retirement system that was started several years ago. Extending the salary tables was a new thing this year, that's a retention piece for our employees that have been with the district a while, so extending those salary tables out. Mr. Schwartz has kind of explained that in detail. Provide long-term disability insurance for all our employees. $500 mid-year retention supplement for all employees, $250 supply stipend for all new teachers. This is something we added at the last, before the budget was tentatively approved. Retention and recruitment supplements for special education teachers, $5,000 for adapted, $3,000 for our interrelated teachers. And then also transferring funds to local capital projects to assist with projects such as preliminary work on West Broad. We increased our transportation budget just due to current economic factors that I think y'all are all probably aware of. And then we increased, based on the vote from the last board meeting, restorative practices by $30,000. So this is where we're at with our tentative budget summary that was approved at the last board meeting. Estimated revenues a little over $264 million. Estimated expenditures almost $263 million, adding a little over $1 million to fund balance or reserves, which will leave us at 20% of expenditures. Keeping in mind, Senate Bill 33 now allows us to keep up to 25%. So that was a new legislative piece that was passed this last legislative session. Sorry. All right, Lisa, can you pull up the millage right here? And I'll go through that. All right, this is our first, as Dr. Anderson mentioned, of 3 millage rate hearings. Millage rate on May 14th was tentatively set at 18.8 mils, same as the prior 4 years. Reassessment of properties produced a tax increase of 4.25%. If we leave the millage rate at 18.8 mils, in order to have no increase, we would have had to roll the millage rate back to 18.033 mils, which is a difference of 0.767 mils. Again, like last year, some property owners will see an increase, some will not, depending on their assessed value, how it compared to 25 versus 26. Keeping in mind, we do have a local school board exemption for residents over 65 where their assessed values are frozen at the age of 65. So the only way their taxes can go up is a change in the millage rate. And then Senate Bill 33 does not go into effect until 27. It will cap the amount of assessed increase on homesteaded properties at the rate of inflation. There was a 3% piece in there. I've looked at stuff all day long. I can't tell if that 3% is still in there, so we're going to go with the rate of inflation. Last year, that was 2.7%, just so y'all have that number. Say. Property tax assumptions, growth of 6.26. You might say, well, I just said 4.25. That's on reassessed values. There's also 2.01% of new growth added to the digest this year. So that would be properties that were not on the 25 digest that are now on the 26 digest. Again, we always build in a delinquency of 1%. We get charged 2.5% by ACC, the tax commissioner's office, to collect our taxes. We always build in 1.2 million. We talked about the millage rate. Our estimated net amount of taxes, $154.6 million. 1 mil is now worth almost $8.5 million in Clark County. Again, this is the history of the millage rate. It was lowered in 23, and for 5 years now it's been at 18.8 mils. Timeline, Dr. Anderson, you mentioned we have another millage rate hearing tomorrow night. June 10th, we have a budget and millage rate hearing, and then on June 11th, the goal is to approve the final budget and millage rate. So, all right, that is my presentation. I think now it's moving to public comment, I believe. Thank y'all.
All right, thank you, Mr. Greiner, for your presentations on the budget as well as the millage rate. Now we will move to public comment. I'm required to read a script according to our policy BCBI. Each individual speaker will have up to 3 minutes to speak, and at this point, remarks must be concluded. No speaker will indulge in personal attacks, and all comments are to be addressed directly to the Board of Education. To protect the privacy of students, speakers shall refrain from identifying specific students by name. No individual or group shall be retaliated against in any manner for speaking during public participation. Personal concerns may be addressed in writing to the superintendent and the president of the Board of Education, and written copies of comments may be provided to the board. And at a board meeting, board members will not respond to questions or comments from the public. The district may respond to public input as needed or appropriately within 10 working days. Lastly, the use of obscene, profane, vulgar, physically threatening, or abusive remarks will not be allowed. And loud and boisterous conduct or comments by speakers or members of the audience are also not allowed. I do have a list of individuals who have signed up in advance to speak about the budget or millage rate. If they are not on the list and you do wish to speak, I'll ask for any other people who wish to speak after these two. The first is Shannon Bushwick. Hold on 1 second. Your mic is off. Let's let somebody fix that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Palmer.
My name is Shannon Bushway. I'm a parent of a rising 9th grade student here. I've also been a resident of Clark County for over 20 years and a homeowner. I'm coming also as someone who's an educator. I'm a school social worker. I've been working as a school social worker for almost 20 years. When I first finished grad school, I was making $27,000 a year. That was over 20 years ago. I decided to move to Athens because it's a wonderful community. I love this so much. I love Athens. And it's one of the very few places then that a single person could afford to own a home and build a life here. And I purchased my first home on my own merit by myself for $115,000. 10 years later, I moved to Normaltown. I bought a very reasonable 3-bedroom, 2-bath ranch house. After 10 years of living there, my taxes on that home were $500 a month. I no longer lived there. I had to leave that home and move to a different home. That's what we're facing right now. Athens, Clark County has one of the highest mill rates in the region. We're higher than Oconee, we're higher than Jackson, we're higher than Barrow County. They're able to pay their staff, they're able to provide everything up there that they're able to do on a budget with a much lower mill rate. And I cannot understand why Clark County cannot do the same for us. This town is becoming absolutely unaffordable, especially for single income families like myself. I want to stay here, I want to live here, but I can't afford to continue to do that. With the mill rate and the taxes, they just continue to keep going up. Every time there's something, it's like, put it on the homeowners, put it on the homeowners, but you're making this unaffordable for us to live here anymore. I also am a little upset about saying like some of the homes are not gonna go up in value. I've been a homeowner here for 23 years. My home did not appreciate very much for the first 10 years I lived here. But for the last 12 years that I have lived here, my taxes have gone up every single year. I have known no friends who are homeowners that their tax prices have not gone up every single year. Right now, my income, I pay half of my income to my mortgage, my taxes, and my homeowner's insurance. That's it. The other half go to utilities, buying my groceries. Everything is increasing for us. And at this point, you can't get blood from a turnip. There's nothing else for us. So I'm asking for not to increase the mill rate. We cannot afford it.
All right, up next is Phyllis Childs.
Hello. Thank you for letting me speak, and thanks to everybody who's here. I'm a retired school teacher from Athens, Clark County Board of Education. I spent almost 32 years teaching English as a second language. I retired in 2019, one of the best decisions I ever made. I'm enjoying retirement. I am very concerned about property taxes, both from the ACC point of view and from the Board of Education. I want to encourage you, I'd love it if you could drop the millage rate, but we don't need our residents having another whammy on property taxes to fund some things that are happening that I don't even know what all is in the budget, so I can't specifically say. But I urge you to think long and hard about this. It is very hard for single people. It's very hard for 65-plus people to handle property tax increases like Athens, Clark County is experiencing. So sharpen your pencils, think long and hard about what you're doing, and do the right thing for our students, our parents, and grandparents.
Okay, that concludes the individuals that signed up in advance to speak. Are there any members of the audience who wish to take 3 minutes to speak? And apologies, Ms. Bushway, for mispronouncing your last name. I just couldn't read it well. Please state your name.
Yes, my name's Jim Hopkins, and I guess if I understood it correctly from the presentation of the budget, is that the budget could stay flat if the millage rate was reduced slightly to 17 mills, if I understood that correctly. My challenge to the board is to do that, is to live within your means, live within the budget that you had last year, find areas where you can reprioritize. Don't take the advantage just because a home today might have been appraised higher. That doesn't have any impact on the individual homeowner because their expenses haven't changed, their revenue hasn't changed, but you may take advantage of the fact that their appraisals have gone up, even if you don't change the millage rate. So my suggestion to you is look at this really hard and find a way to just live with the budget you had previously, which would require reducing, it looks like reducing the millage rate slightly to be able to do that. And I think if I looked at it correctly, that'd be about you're trying to add about another $1 million plus of expenses. So my suggestion is reprioritize, live within your means, reduce the millage rate, keep the budget where it was last year, and keep doing the kind of job that was done this year. Thank you.
All right. Okay, we have another member of our community. Yes, come on up. And please state your name.
My name is Mark Graham. I am your Coca-Cola representative, just so, you know, that's where all that came from over there. So, not to rain on anybody's parade, but just to put it in perspective, the Coca-Cola budget for the Athens area was 40% over on fuel 2 weeks into last month. 40% for the month, over. I can't imagine what that's doing to school buses. I get all that, I understand that. But I do echo what the people are saying here about living within your means. What lay people see are increases in school expenditures. And while we're having to tighten our belts to pay for fuel, electricity, all the things, taxes, all we're asking is that the board look long and strong at what they're doing. It's our money, and it's your money too. But I understand costs are going up, I get that, but it's time for everybody to tighten their belts. Not just the homeowners, not just the parents of the kids that are going to your schools. It's time for y'all to do that too. And I mean that with all respect. I love this school district. I've served you guys for years and years and years. So just look inward a little bit and see if you can offer us some relief while at the same time having to deal with the main thing is the fuel cost. I know it's just a killer, but it won't be that way forever. So I'm just asking that you guys think about holding the line. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I don't see any other hands raised, so, okay. Oh, okay. We'll let you go up, and then I think we'll probably conclude. We're getting the resonating theme here, so we completely understand. So yes, if you can state your name and then.
My name is Rita Raines. I actually work for the Clark County School District. I grew up in Clark County. I went to school in Clark County. All my kids went to school in Clark County. What I want to say is I know I cost taxpayers money with what I do. And every person that works in the school district is very important, no matter what they do. But what I want you to think about when you're raising expenses on even the people that you pay, you may not be paying them enough to pay for all the things that life hands at them, plus an increase in what they pay. When I went to Publix the other day, I saw people that I know to be very elderly working. They're going out in the parking lot and getting buggies. And I know this to be a fact that they are working, again, in retirement because they can't afford their home. My mother's 82. She works 2 part-time jobs. She's in great health. But what if she wasn't? I don't make enough money to cover the mortgage and property taxes and regular bills. All I'm getting at is that we understand the children desperately need an education. I help provide that every day. I've done that for a very long time. But in the meantime, the people that can't afford to be here, the people that work at fast food, the people that live in a rental, their rent's going up, skyrocketing. My son had to take 2 roommates to afford a place he used to afford by himself because the rent is so high. At the same time, his income didn't go up. We got to somehow balance our thoughts on income and expenses so that we can have people still be here in Clark County. Because if people start moving out, we're not going to have that many kids left to educate. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you, everyone, for taking the time to come to our first budget presentation and millage rate hearing. We will have another one tomorrow and another one next week, so maybe we'll see you again. If not, thank you so much for coming out and speaking about the millage rate. All right, we will now move to item 6, and that is for adjourning. Yes, Ms. Davis?
I so move.
Okay.
Second.
All right, motion made by Ms. Davis and seconded by Mr. Evans. All in favor of adjourning for the night, please raise your hand and say aye.
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 That motion passes. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.